What's up? Your host here is Shaun Crawford with Varsity House Podcast. Thank you for tuning in last week to the Notre Dame episode, and if you haven't, please give it a listen. This week's episode will be featuring Vanderbilt football, who just finished up their spring game last week. This episode will be featuring head coach Clark Lea, Jayden McGowan, Jaylen Mahoney, and Anfernee Orji. Very excited to share their stories and also touch on the past 2 seasons at Vanderbilt, the arrival since Coach Lea, and then also just the spring that they've had that is going to lead into a successful fall. Remember, in the middle, we do a giveaway, so just please stay tuned, listen for that, and hope you enjoy. My first time in Nashville, I texted when I first got in, I texted Coach Lea, nothing like South Bend. Just the whole city, just having this in your backyard, it's probably amazing. It's probably a recruiting tool as well. So appreciate you guys having me in, welcoming me into the building, allowing me to come to practice and see how things are ran here. So good getting started. Coach Lea, how's the transition been? Obviously, coming from Notre Dame, but this is home to you. This is like your foundation. So coming back, obviously, this means more to you than probably any coach that they could have hired. Yeah. And so having that foundation, how has it felt being back home and really just like bringing this next group of guys along?
Yeah, when the decision came for me, I felt like what I was leaving was so special, so I had to make sure that it was what I was going to, I could be equally excited about. And because this is home and because I believe in this program, it was like, it just was a no-brainer for me. And, the transition has been, it's had its ups and downs, there's I think any time you experience growth, you experience pain, and that you growth on a program level, growth on a personal level too. But I think where we sit now, heading into year 2, just going to work every day with people that you have established relationships with and that are aligned and on the same page and that care about each other, like we're having a lot of fun, from my angle. And so it's easy to be back home, but sometimes it's a little more personal. So I know where the grocery store is and where the coffee is, but everything kind of hits a little bit different for me, the good and the bad. But the family's settled in, and I'm having a blast, and feel like we're on that that trajectory to send this program to where it needs to be.
Jayden and Anfernee, you guys have been here, or Jaylen and Anfernee, you guys have been here throughout the year. So have you experienced any change since Coach Lea got here?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like culture change, mindset change. Everyone really truly believes we can win here now. So everyone's 100% confident. Let's just go. It's all go mode now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a totally different culture. You can tell, like Anfernee said, all the guys are bought in. You see a lot more guys in the building, which is good. A lot more guys in the film room, meeting room, and meeting with the coaches and stuff like that, and which is a good starting point for a change in the culture.
Jayden, you were early enrollee, so everything's new for you. Is this kind of what you expected, especially talking to Coach Lea and the staff, throughout recruiting? Have you, is this what you expected, since, from all the stuff you heard through recruiting and now getting here, has anything changed for you?
I think it's actually better than expected, because I talked to Coach Lea before, and he kind of explained the culture of what he was trying to build, and this is only the second year, so we're still building the foundation. So when I got here, it was I just see how fast we're moving and how fast we're progressing for our past years. So I feel like we're about to be a lot better this year.
Yeah, and you kind of have a unique, path here. You were recruited by mostly Ivy League schools, and then you were fortunate enough to have an individual workout here. How did that come in place?
Well, I was getting recruited by some other schools, and I had pulled my hamstring at a camp there.
Okay.
So I had missed all of the camps, and when I came, Vanderbilt kept in touch with me after some schools stopped after I got injured, and I came here and just had a good workout, even though I wasn't completely healed, but I came here and it went good. I was happy with it.
Yeah. You saying Jaylen, you said you had family that came, or Anfernee, you said you had family that came here. We talked a little bit off camera how that came in place. Now, senior year, rising senior year, you got, I guess, one more year, probably a couple more just because of COVID. You think, looking back on things, is this the right place for you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm looking back on it when I was younger, like freshman year, I was just like, man, is this the right place for me? Like, is the right place for me? So I just gone somewhere else away from my brother. But then now, growing up and being in the program long, being in the school longer, I realized it's definitely the best position I could have made.
Mm-hmm. Coach, now you talked about you having fun here. I know I got to experience the paintball today with the guys. It was a team outing that you did. How have you instilled having fun but also going to work?
I think that if I was to be honest and assess the kind of where we are, I think year one was about more about the work, than the fun, and I think that was something that I had. I think in a leadership role, you expect people to communicate to you. And I was talking to these guys this morning. To me, feedback is love, So, I can like a lot of people, I can kind of get blinders on sometimes and just get a narrow focus. And as a defensive coordinator, that can be a blessing, because there's so much in your world immediately that you need to be focused on. I think as a head coach, you need people to constantly kind of pull you back up to 30,000 feet. And so some of the feedback I got just going into year two was about, building in ways that we can interact outside of meetings and ball, and really what makes Vanderbilt so special is the players. I mean, the players here are unbelievable football players, but people too. And so for me, to have the chance to interact and to get to know them off the field, to give them a space where it's a release where they can enjoy each other's company. Not everything feels like a job every day.
Right.
And also just the trust that's been earned here too. I mean, I don't know that anyone lets their guard down until they really trust the environment, and that goes both ways, but just feeling like I trust these guys. I trust the work that we're putting in, and so it makes it easy for us to kind of, like I say, let my hair down, but obviously that's not a part of my experience. But just to go have a good time together and relax. And so what we're trying to build is something that's so cohesive and so tight that it actually goes beyond just the game of football, and that should be represented in the way we play. And I think you have to be really intentional about that. And so we're trying to take a new blueprint to this season and this team and figure out how deep we can grow these relationships so that when the adversity sets in, and it will, when it sets in, that again we're strengthened by that because of the shared belief in the brotherhood we've created.
Right. Yeah, and I know probably Vandy being one of the schools in the SEC with the academic restrictions, similar to Notre Dame. Do you find that tough as when recruiting?
It's a choice, we see it as a blessing actually, because I think, just like we had at Notre Dame, what you fill your team with is just high-reaching, high-achieving young people that are prideful in everything they do, and that's a great starting point for an excellent football team,
right.
And again, it's our job to make sure that we're going out and finding guys that have the skills to do this too in the SEC. Mm-hmm. But those guys are out there, and so our recruiting pool may not be as deep as others, but it is skimming that elite layer off the entire country, and these guys are representative of that. And we think that's going to be what ultimately distinguishes us on the field in this league too.
Yeah, especially because it's like you mentioned, when you go to battle with these guys and you also in class with these guys, it's like everything just means more. To where it's not just football. It's not just trying to get to the league, but it's also how can I become a better person? How can I become a better man? And Coach Lea, that's something that you preach all the time, to where it's first class all the way, and that's just something that always will stick with us. To where it's you said it so much that it got repetitive and got kind of annoying at times. But with everything we do, it's just that we try to be first class, to where it's running off the field, being on time and things like that, to where all that translated to where it's even when I had the opportunity to go to the Raiders this past preseason, it was I feel like I was ahead of the curve. I was ahead of a lot of guys just because of my foundation. To where it's like I've always, you set in stone, bring a notebook to every meeting. So it was like I went to every meeting, had a notebook, had a pen or had something to write with. And just from that standpoint, I felt like I was ahead of things. And then now ball is going to take care of itself, because it's like, you watch a ton of film and you guys are going to study the game as much as anyone. So the ball is going to take care of itself to where it's like when you get to that next level, and when you get, whether it's business or whatever you do, like these tools that he's giving you and that he will give you are going to play a huge role. And that's something that I found out early on. But especially with like you senior linebacker, you play Mike.
Will.
Yeah. Because Coach Lee, he loves his linebackers. So
Yeah.
how do you like the new structure of the defense? Because I believe it feeds the linebackers for sure. They make a lot of plays. But so how do you feel like you accepted your role in this defense?
I love it. Like, I feel like it opens up the field for everyone to make plays, but especially like you know what you're doing in this defense, then you can just get your own success. Especially me at linebacker, I like to know what everything's going around. D-line, everyone behind me, corner, so I like to know everything. So when you learn the defense inside and out, then you get to just play fast and go get the ball, do your job, get the ball.
Right. Jaylen, you corner, so you still the boundary field?
Yeah.
Which are you?
Field.
You like you like to play off, or you like press? In this defense.
In the field,
I
I play off, but I
Yeah.
like the press though.
Okay.
You'll get it anyway. That's why you'll get it anyway.
Yeah, nah, for sure. I just know his defense. He liked to play the field corner off. I was also a field corner in his defense, but definitely.
You guys got some similarities because Jaylen's also a nickel.
Mm-hmm.
He's played a little safety too, and of course.
Okay.
That's how you transition.
Yeah, the safety position though is tough. It's a lot of stuff going on to where it's like, I thought it was just like, because I played safety like growing up in high school, little league, and it was just play deep, come down, hit people, make interceptions. To where it's like, no, you gotta read the tackles for pass, run. You gotta read the quarterback, then you gotta read the sock read and all that other stuff. To where it's like it's a lot going on.
Yeah, I played safety in high school. In my freshman year here, that was like 20 pounds ago. It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, he came in as a safety.
Yeah.
You still got the ball skills?
Oh, yeah. don't look at the Tennessee game, but I still got it.
You mentioned Tennessee. Any games that you guys are like looking forward to that you just like you want to get back at them and just that you're ready for?
I'm just ready to play ball. Just ready for Hawaii. That's the next opponent. So
I'm ready to play ball, but the team that I hate the most, South Carolina.
Do you guys? We at Notre Dame, we didn't play in a conference, so we got to like travel pretty much like all over the country. Do you guys like staying like within this within a conference? And like, I guess, do you feel like you're getting like repetition to where it's like what you're watching film, you're watching the same teams and trying to get in the feel for them, like I guess like subconsciously, like when you're watching maybe like for example Tennessee, and then like while you're watching the South Carolina play them or Florida play them, it's like, oh, now when you got to play Florida, it's like, okay, I've seen this before. Like, I know what they do. You feel like that happens a lot?
Yeah. I feel like all the offenses in the SEC are like, they run similar to Tennessee. So, watching film and stuff, like keying in on like their main concepts and stuff like that will definitely help going into game day and like knowing what they're doing before the game even starts. Not the game, but the play even start.
Right.
So just like keying in on formations, tendencies, like split tendencies of the receivers and stuff like that will definitely tell the whole story of the offense.
Jayden, you're a receiver, so when the offense having a good day, how's Coach Lee's attitude? How's his mood?
He's still happy, but I see a difference in when the defense has a good day.
Yeah.
I see he's hyped up when the defense is winning. He's different. When the offense is winning, he still of course wants to see the team succeed. Wants to see the offense succeed. But I think he probably a little hurt that the linebackers aren't getting it.
They don't have it as much as well. So
Yeah,
you don't have it.
Yeah. It's been 2 weeks since spring ball.
Yeah.
What's the feel like right now? I know off the field you guys are having fun. You guys are getting to know each other very well. A new staff. came in on the defensive side. So how's just like, I guess the first couple weeks been so far?
Intense. If I could use a word to describe spring ball so far, it's intense. It's been hard, but it's been super, super, super fun. Just being able to fly around, just get a new identity on defense. So it's just great being able to just be out there and play ball.
Yeah, I think like in the past, like we've been focusing on like how hard the practices have been, but like now we just started having fun, like running around and like bringing intensity and stuff like that to practice. Really fun.
Especially with Coach Lea, it's like period 1 pursuit drill.
Yeah.
So so it's like if you're not ready to go at we got to start at 8 a.m.
Practice, we early.
Yeah, so if you're not ready to go at 7:45, 8 a.m., you're gonna be running that whole first and second period, and that was one thing where we, I guess at Notre Dame, we kind of found our juice, and even like there were times that we would fake it, and I mean that actually towards the end of the year it kind of hurt us because it was like we weren't bringing that authentic energy, to where it's like I guess like just throughout the year just try to keep that. Because that's like that foundation layer to where it's like if it gets in the fourth quarter or even if the fourth quarter of the season, so like those last couple games, like that's where like that fake energy that hurt us honestly, like my last year. And so just always bring it, because I know Coach Lea, like he's the same guy every day. So
I think that's so important, Shaun. Like I think in a lot of ways, for us going from year 1 to year 2 is we're trying to become more authentic in our identity, and that's what you guys are talking about. And we've shifted a little bit, but we think we've deepened to focus on the things that are going to deliver like a nasty defense, you know. And I got to compliment Coach Howell, because he there's nothing in his body that's fake. You know, I mean, everything that he does is real and authentic, and he's got a great message behind each repetition. To be honest with you, he runs a harder pursuit drill than I ran, which makes me feel a little self-conscious. But I think that's a great point, because what's fake eventually evaporates, and what's real will stay with you throughout the duration. And I think that's really, even in the off the field stuff we're doing, is trying to tap into that authenticity of relationship that we'll have with us no matter what.
Do you feel like even this with you, like this being your home, do you feel pressure from, I guess, maybe just the fan base, or just the pressure you put on yourself to take this program to the next step, or is it more of like just a privilege to you?
Well, I mean, it's a privilege certainly, and it's one that I hope I earned. I mean, that's the biggest pressure I feel, is like, how am I earning this privilege every day? But I've got great partners with our chancellor and athletics director. They're totally supportive. They understand the journey we're on. I think with a fan base, nothing happens fast enough. And right now to me that's external. I'm more worried about serving the guys that are the coaches and players in this program. And I mean, we've talked a lot over the years, Shaun, about perfectionist trait and about the pressure that we put on ourselves, and that's there, I mean, and in my darkest moments, it's the internal pressure that is eating at me. But again, the more I think you build trust with, like my last year at Notre Dame, I don't know that I've ever been as unguarded with the group, particularly the linebackers, just because that was 4 years with the same people.
Right.
It's so much fun when you can just totally relax and be yourself, and then you feel like, rather than you're carrying that pressure all yourself. 2018, before the first game that I was the defensive coordinator at Michigan, I mean, I was on edge, and I don't know that I was a healthy edge, and I had to work with Amber Selking to kind of like dial back a little bit internally. But it's because I didn't trust yet that it really wasn't my performance, it was your performance. You know what I'm saying? And over time, I think as a coach, you realize that it's just really such a shared experience with a player. And the more you build those layers of trust, you get to the point where no matter what happens, it's really the only thing that matters is that relationship, So we're getting there here, but certainly being at home in my alma mater, and I want this to be my legacy, my career legacy. this job, this program, getting to a point where it's sustaining success, building out a community of Vanderbilt football alums, and making sure that that becomes something that shines through in this experience. You know, I want those things ultimately to be the things that I reflect on when I'm an old man and say, you know, this is what we accomplished. And I think when you set out that way, there's a pressure that's inherent because you know, I want to see those things through. But ultimately, you know, that time will come. Right now, it's just, you know, can we build the relationships that we that kind of foster the winning environment that will allow us to unlock those results.
Mm-hmm. Jaylen and Anfernee, you guys being vets on the team, what steps have you taken just to, I guess, lead your rooms and then ultimately lead the rest of the team?
Personally, I feel like maturity is a big thing coming from freshman year to now, and also just confidence. Just being confident in my game, not for me, not being too entitled, having too much self-doubt, just being perfectly in the middle. Just know I can know my ability, and also knowing the room's ability, knowing everyone's strengths and weaknesses, so I can help lead, help commend them on their strengths, and then help build them up on their weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I've matured a lot, like off the field also. So like just keeping those guys in the corner accountable, like especially like on the field, like I'm just keyed in on my position, and like if like the person that's in that position does something wrong, then like I'm on like immediately after the play.
Right.
Like you're supposed to do this, not that, and you know, I think that just builds trust within the program. And like one of our covenants is player accountability, and like I feel like that speaks for it. So.
Mm-hmm. Now at Notre Dame, we didn't have like we didn't have Nashville, we didn't have like the big city. So do you find it, or did you find it tough, like having like Nashville in your backyard, having to show up to like Saturday practices and things like that, where it's like your classmates or friends might be going out on the weekend? Is that something challenging here?
Nah.
I mean, if you
Just because Coach Lee here, he won't hold it
I feel
against
like
you.
if you keyed in on the right things,
Right.
like you wouldn't like you wouldn't feel some type of way about classmates going out and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like
You can still have fun.
Yeah.
Right.
We can still have fun. Like, you don't need to do everything the regular students do, because we know we're different.
Yeah,
We're
sure.
student athletes, so we need to do everything they're doing. So we can still have fun, like we do when we have paper on today. We still have our own fun, but we gotta find out how to have our own healthy fun. That's best for the team.
Right. You said, where are you from?
South Carolina,
Okay. So how far is that from here?
like 6 hours.
6 hours. So it's not too far, but you said you were from Texas. Is it hard being like far from home?
Not really.
Yeah.
I'm kind of going through recruiting. I kind of wanted to go somewhere far away from home, because I felt like I was just too at home too much. I want my parents just being in my business all the time, so I kind of wanted to go a little far away from home. But it's not really, because like my parents, my mom and dad are really supportive, so they're gonna support me and come to everything they can. So it's not really bad being far away from home.
You being an early enrollee, you getting homesick at all?
I thought I was gonna be. But
Nobody.
nah, I was not gonna lie. There have been like little occasions when like my mom would text me or something, and I was like, dang, I wish I was at home.
Yeah.
But then, even before I got here, Coach Lee was like, you're not gonna have enough time to be homesick. Like, you're gonna be busy all the time, so you're just not gonna be thinking about it. And that's honestly how it's been. I've had a busy schedule, so I don't really have time to
Think about it.
Yeah. But I do stay in contact with my parents and stuff, and I'm ready to see them, but it's not really holding me back or anything. I'm not really thinking about it too much.
It's like early on, you like kind of know like you're ready for that next step towards. I didn't get the opportunity to be an early enrollee, but if I did, I probably still would have took it just because I enjoyed my last semester of high school. But what was something that led to you saying like, okay, like I'm ready to take that next step. I'm ready to be in college. I'm ready to just go on this journey.
Honestly, it was like a no-brainer for me. I knew from even when I started playing high school football, or when I started getting recruited, that I was going to try to enroll early, so I could do spring ball. And if I could prove myself in spring ball, then I can go into fall camp, into the season with looking good on the depth chart, even maybe starting.
Right.
Just trying to get a knowledge for things. So now that I've gotten here early, I've gotten into the playbook a lot. I'm like 3 months in. I'm still not completely perfect with it. So
Right.
I would much rather have that started now and then try to start over the summer and come in a little behind.
Yeah. What was some of y'all journeys like? I guess like early in your career.
He was
So
that dude. He
yeah,
was
I
that
came
dude.
in early. They kind of just threw me in at nickel, like first day of fall camp, and I just I guess went ballistic. After that, I was playing. I played as a true freshman, played nickel, and then it's pretty solid for me.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, early in the season, I didn't play at all. Like, I remember first game was Georgia. Like, I didn't even have a jersey on. I was a t-shirt on the sideline. The second game, I didn't travel to Purdue. The third game, was in a jersey on the sideline at LSU. Then after that, I started dressing out, played special teams. I was in all 4 special teams the rest of the year. Started a dime. I played a little bit towards the end of the season, but I think it was because like mindset changed for me. When I first came in, the keynotes hit, like, I ain't want to be here. Like, I was just moping around everywhere. I was just like, just doing my thing, get out, didn't talk to anyone, anything. I started like really getting a team. Then I started to see more sets on the field. Started, I'm playing more. Oh, haven't succeeded more. So yeah, that's how I came in. So.
You mentioned Selking. Do you guys do mental performance training here?
We do. So Amber connected me with some, Kayleen Curry, who they did a master's program together.
Okay.
So that's how Kayleen ended up here. So she works with these guys, and we do a little more that's structured in, a little less in the team meetings, but a little more like that's actually designated mental performance time. And I think those things take time to take hold. I think they're experiencing it at different levels, but there's an office on our hallway where they can go and deposit all the things that they need to deposit. And the mental aspect of performance, I think they're coming into connection with, and she's been a big part of that. So
yeah. Do you think that the training so far has helped you guys?
Yeah. I mean, I remember at first people were like, man, we gotta go to mental training after we just lived there, we can just do naturals. Like,
Yeah, right.
But then now you start to you really dive into it, get into it, and you see it actually helps. It's like, wow. Then you see yourself going to meet with Kayleen like twice a week, once, twice a week. So me personally, I meet with her once, twice a week every week because I really appreciate it. I've really seen it change mentally. I feel like Coach Lee's seen it too. Like I've just the way it helps me mentally calm down and just be able to, this is everything. Like she helps me focus, just be able to prioritize stuff. It's been a blessing.
And Shaun, part of it too is like you said in your, which I didn't get to comment on, but I appreciated what you said about with the Raiders, like feeling like your foundation was set so that you could have success, because that's what we're really trying to do here is we're building pros. That's the point of the program, is to keep guys connected to their long-term goals. And for these guys to just to find time in their schedule to invest with Kayleen, to meet one-on-one, or learning how to do it and learning the value of it in a team setting, to me is structuring like a winning habit into their day. And I think habitizing that, when they do get their opportunity, they're going to seek those things out and understand a little bit about the mental recovery part of this and the stress that you're under. And as a pro, it's a whole different world. I mean, you go to work every day not knowing,
Exactly.
Am I gonna have a locker today? These guys, I think, I hope, or the goal would be that, they immediately know how to find or seek the people that can help them untangle some of that. And, your experience as a player, and just reflecting like the number of conversations we had around all that sits inside of us when we don't deal with it, how it hampers our ability to, and these guys have heard it, the repetitive stuff, but it changes your attitude. And when your attitude changes, it changes your choices. And all of a sudden you start to vote for a player that you don't want to be. And to do that and to never have an intervention can ruin a career. And so I hope these guys are not only habitizing, investing in the mental aspect of training and preparation, but also, we are able to untangle that internal strife fast enough to where they can have a fast and easy and free and fun career here.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing for sure, because it's like before then it was like you could have like terrible game or even just like a terrible weekend. It's like you still got to go to practice. You still got to go out there and perform on the weekend. Like everything's perfect. Whereas like I guess without that training, it's like you don't really know how to juggle everything. Whereas like you can't. A big word that I took from Selking was just optimal zone. Like getting to your optimal zone to where it's like yours may be different than mine. Like yours may be different than his. To where it's like you just gotta like find. And I'm like throughout my career, I still had to like find like how to get to my optimal zone because it was like some days I was up there, and then some days like you couldn't even talk to me. So, and this was like my senior year too. So it was like it was a constant struggle, but it was like a challenge that I was willing to accept because like now you look back on it to where it's like now you just go through those thoughts, those like mental practices that you that they teach you. Because it could take you. It took me to a point where it's like now I'm even doing this podcast to where it's like, all right, let me take a step back to where it's like getting away from like playing and those things to where it's like, how else can I help the community that I'm like involved in, which is sports. To where it's like for my career, I had injuries early in my career, and for my like personal story, I was never able to tell it from my own voice. It was always. Like a media guy would ask me questions, and it was just like, "How do you feel?" And then I would respond, and like that was just the answer. That was just like the piece that got taken out or whatever, taken from that. And now with this podcast, I hope to just create a platform for student athletes and just anyone in general to just be able to just share their stories from their own voice. Because I wish when I was playing, it was like, because right now you guys got the biggest fans that you'll have, really. You got a whole university behind you. You got alumni behind you, coaches behind you, and when you leave, it won't be the same. Like even if you go to the pros, it's like you got your family, you got your core audience, to where it's like then you go to a team, you got that team, and it's so wishy-washy there because it's like play bad, they hate you, play good, they like you for right now, and there's just so much like moving around in the league as well. So it's like. And then also, if you don't even play in the league, it's like now that fan base is gone. But with this opportunity, it allowed me to be able to share my stories, allow me to just gather like people that are in the same situations as me, to share their story and shine light on it. So, for me, I guess I could talk about my story a little bit. But I went to Notre Dame. I was like a 4-star. Under Armour game, all that open and all that stuff, and then got to Notre Dame. I was balling like similar to you. Early on, I had an opportunity to start, and then tore my ACL. And it was like no big deal. It was just like, oh, I'm gonna come back because that's when like Kobe's like Muse thing was out, and like you saw the Adrian Peterson thing. So it's just like, oh, you can come back from those pretty easily. Second year, I ended up like playing, started, tore my Achilles. Second game, first home game that I've ever got to play in. And then it was just like, dang, like where am I at now? Do I stay here? Do I transfer? Like, what do I do? And I just had some people in my circle that just like kept motivating me, kept pushing me. So ended up playing again, started the next year, my junior year, Coach Lee's first year. And then just came back my senior year, just ready to just take off, ended up tearing my other ACL. So it's just been like a challenge for me, just playing wise. But throughout those experiences, I always learned to cherish the moment. To where it's like when I was on the field, I like after my injuries when I came back with my fifth and I did a 6-year too. It was never just take a practice for granted. It was never take a game for granted. Like I remember some games like I strained my pec or like hurt my elbow or whatever. And it was like, no, I gotta finish this game. Like I gotta play like no matter what. I'm gonna muscle through this. I'm gonna play as hard as I can. And so just like experiences like that to where it's like, I wish when I was in college, I was able to just to share the things that I was going through instead of having the media share it or people like not know what's going on. But so it's just like similar to you guys, like you guys are rising seniors. Have there's been like any like adversity that you've had to like face and overcome throughout your time here?
Yeah, definitely. My sophomore year, whenever we went 0-10, 0-9, like that was like one of the lowest moments of my life personally, because like I think I rode like the wave of like losing every week, like week by week, and like let that affect my mental. And like I think, like yeah, football was there and everything, but like no one wants to lose like week by week and stuff. And I let that get to me, and you know, it was just a dark time for. I feel like it was a dark time for everybody here. Like the like McGowan, like it was just like dead. Like it seemed like it had no life to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like no one was in here. Like spent extra time in here and nothing like that. Like it was just go to practice and go back to your dorms.
Yeah, it was
Chill.
COVID. It was like middle of COVID. Like you didn't know who's gonna be at practice, you didn't know who's gonna play.
Yeah.
It was like one day you're like, oh, get a call, oh I got COVID, I got close contact, you're gone. So like you don't know, is it so much inconsistency? It's like, or one day you like come to locker room's out there, you opted out. So it's just like everything that time it was just like everything was just down. And it felt like it just kept going lower and lower, like the further we got on the season. So that was a big low point in my career here. But then yeah, Coach Lee came, like he could, I'm sure you could tell, like we were still down from it. But even with all the people who did stay, because I know a bunch of people left, all the people who did stay, we were still down from that season because like we went through it.
Traumatized.
Yeah, but then Coach Lee helped us. We definitely worked our way up, trying to build confidence, build like competitive edge, and I feel like we're still working on it, but I feel like we came a really long way. And adversity last season, like I didn't really have much adversity because like, well, I might have, but like, I don't really, I guess I just don't look at it that way personally. Like, I mean, I tore my elbow on this game, but like, that didn't really affect me. I missed 2 plays, so like, that didn't really affect me. It's just like the way I look at it. I just look at it, all right, it's something that may happen, I'm just gonna keep doing what I can do.
Mm-hmm. How have you guys used that experience just to fuel you going into this spring, going into this season?
To be honest, I don't even think about it. I don't think about that much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think about it because when we think about it, it's not gonna make me go win the game from sophomore year. So I don't really think about it. I'm just trying to do what I can do so we win now. So we can do what we do right now to become the best team we can be.
I definitely agree with Anfernee. Like not the thought of my sophomore year comes to my mind. Like I'm focused on it now. Like what do we do now to win games in the fall? Like what can I do now to, you know, make my teammates better and stuff like that. So like just focusing on like what we can do now to win in the fall as well.
Mm-hmm. Have you been able to just pick up and learn from those two? Especially because I mean, obviously you weren't here when they were going through that, but have you experienced just like how they go to work and like now like this might be the first time you may be hearing them talk about it, but like have you like now when you see them go to work, do you see that like fuel? Do you see that like where that passion comes from?
I definitely do. I see the feel like I used to see it during the winter workouts.
Mm-hmm.
We come in like 6 a.m. working out outside in 28 degrees, and I see them like not complain, just put their head down and go to work, and that really motivated me because I see from my high school, like I could complain about anything really.
Mm-hmm.
I complain about how hot it is, anything like that. Then I come here and no one's complaining. They're just putting in work.
Yeah, Coach, have you taken that upon like yourselves just to also be? I mean, you've seen the program from I guess just from the outside in before, now being on the inside. How have you taken that upon yourself to just I guess make sure that that feeling never happens again?
Well, I think we talk a lot about not standards over circumstances,
Mm-hmm.
right? Not being victimized by what we're going through, but understanding that you find peace when you understand that everything is perfectly designed for you. And so, to me, I'm just trying to build that level of autonomy into each individual and into the team, where we're owning the things that we control constantly, and we're the things we don't control, the things that we want to change but we can't change right now, that we just let those things be. And that's really been the message and the model, and it takes time. I mean, that was a hard year. And the other thing that's, it's not like the facility changed. So when these guys talk about it was hard, or that McGowan felt dead, or it was, I don't think you lose that association. And that's one reason why we took everything down repainted the walls, and we tried to change as much as we could so that the guys would start interacting with the facility differently. And then it's taken time, but I think we're to a point now where guys celebrate being up here, and I know the number of people that'll just stop and talk to me, players, you know, and I'm not always the coolest guy in the building, man. That's just part of the job, you know, but like, I enjoy the fact that they don't view me that way, and they don't see me as like, oh, like the principal of the high school, that I can be someone that they don't mind just kind of sitting and having a conversation with. And to me, all those little things, unless you take time to really like pay attention to it, it's easy to forget about how far we've come. And I think what Jayden said about just how fast this culture's moving, you know, I mean, I think we're like doubling down on all the good things that are here. And to hear him talk about, you know, not hearing people complain, I mean, the training shifted dramatically. And so, you know, this has been a year-long, effort to eradicate complaining, because that we're all human, you know, and you know, I mean,
Right.
When Bayless got to Notre Dame, I mean, I remember Drew Tranquil calling me midsummer and being like, we're overtrained. I say, man, at some point you're gonna have to trust the strength coach.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, those are things that, you know, again, take time to like adjust to the new surroundings. And these guys, you know, because of the leadership, the nucleus of team that's still with us, you know, that's allowing for what's new in the program to like lock in immediately to how we do what we do.
I guess before we wrap it up, what's the one thing that you want to get the most out of this spring?
Personally, just focusing on the details of my game. Personally, just want to be able to, I guess, linebacker, so many little details, make sure my base is right, my first step is right, make sure I'm reading through the key correctly, just little details, because I feel like that's the thing that's really put me over the edge. My performance is focusing on details. As a team, I feel like one big thing I want us to do is get closer as a team. Because I feel like, and get closer around ball. Like, we do the fun stuff, we get closer on that, but when we get closer around ball too, it makes it even better, because you're learning and you're getting closer with your brothers. So that's something that I really want to get out of this spring.
A big thing for me would be to get adjusted to the speed of the game, because when I had my first reception in a practice, and I turned around and tried to run the field, everybody just flying, and I was like, I thought I was fast, and I see everybody on the field moving just as fast as me. So I gotta get adjusted to the speed and how fast I comprehend things, just like getting to play, knowing exactly what to do, what split to be in, all while looking at the defense.
Right.
And stuff like that. So I just want to make sure I'm fast enough so I can, like, hopefully get in first game and just play and ball out.
Yeah, I think for me, you know, cause like my personality, like I'm just a quiet guy, like, so like for me, like stepping into like a senior role, like having more of a voice on the defense, and you know, becoming like a leader on the defense and stuff like that, and also like working on my technique and making sure I'm like technically sound and stuff like that going into May, to where like I can, you know, focus on just like ability and stuff like that. So just focusing on that stuff like that.
Well, yeah, I appreciate you guys hopping on. I know it is Saturday, so you guys are free for the day. So I appreciate you guys coming in and doing one more thing for Coach Lee that he asked. But definitely will be checking you guys out. Appreciate it. So from Vanderbilt Varsity House Podcast, thank you guys. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed another episode of Varsity House Podcast. We thank you to all the players and the coaches who came on the show. I mean, it's not easy for them to take time out of their day and just to give us a glimpse into the program. Here at Varsity House, we always want to make sure that we're delivering great content to our fans. So please like, comment, subscribe, and please leave reviews on teams we should do next, players you want on, and questions you want asked. Thank you again, and let's make it happen.